Oh, I'm on now. All right. Um, yo, what's up? Um, I don't know where to start. So basically, I'm just gonna start doing weekly episodic lives, and the reason why I kind of always wanted to do lives, I just always was very delayed in doing so because, like a tart, I'd be like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna watch me, but it's just I've kind of decided that, and my new lease on life is that if um if there's an idea in my head, then I'm just gonna go and release it because it's better that you release it than keep it stored up because then it's just gonna be then it'll just be missed opportunities galore. That's the only reason why I'm doing so. Um, if no one's here live, then it's like they can check it later at another time. It's just my incentive to give as much insightful information as I possibly can. And oh, is there someone here? Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about a whole host of things, jumping from one thing to another. First thing I wanted to talk about is I think I'll start talking about the black sector because I've given some information. So I just want to talk about how I discovered the black sector was through that Sharkeisha. There was this girl called Sharkeisha. Apparently, she kicked her mate in the face, and then I kind of started looking at videos, and then that's how I found out about that idiot Tommy Sotomayor, and then like I was just I'd seen clips of him and I was just so unimpressed with him that I would just try and swerve it, but I thought, okay, he's gonna be that twat is gonna be the only person to who I'm gonna who I'm going to be able to see this video through, and through that. But what kept me hooked was his oppositions, his adversaries. It was just like how, I mean, just to give a long story short, is that there were a bunch of black men who, because people were saying he's so anti-black women, and people were saying that, and then a guy called Tyrone Thompson assembled a movement called 100,000 Black Men Against Tommy Sotomayor. Now, whether or not they would have accumulated 100,000 black men, but it was just trying to show black women that how not all black men ascribe to this form. I mean, I don't. I've got three sisters, and I adore black women. So it's just like him saying this sort of stuff. But I from time to time he might have been just a little bit entertaining, but yeah, it was just such was the case. Um, yeah, and that was how I discovered the black sector. Just I think I discovered people like LA, Clifton Rainey, Monty Woodgrain. Those people, they just used to give me all kinds of giggles, particularly Clifton Rainey, like who I've challenged countless times for an old school dance off. Not old school dancer, basically we play old school music because I want to shock him with my collection of old school music. Yes, also at times I hear music that he plays and then I go and find it. But I've got a whole old school playlist that I'd love to shock him with. But I'd love to have like a back and forth so I can get some more music from him. Another person who I like to have that with is Brown Beasley. Now I know Mr. Rainey isn't too keen on Brown Beasley, and I respect that. But when he's not doing the kind of pranks he does, he's quite an insightful individual. Like I can listen to him as well. He is quite when he, like I say, when he's not doing the kind of pranks, he's actually, I do find him to be somewhat insightful. But yeah, I wanted to go on going back to Thomas Sotomayor. It's just like as much as opposed I am to his rhetoric, there was a necessity for a position like this because even though I don't oppose him, but there was a sort of position for black men to speak, and unfortunately he was the worst spokesperson for us black men. But it was a position that needs to be had, that black men who can actually speak and tell people how they really feel without actually without without being under any restrictions or anything like that or anything of the sort. So yeah, so I think how the Black Manosphere came about, in my opinion, is because you know, we see all these videos, which I believe is complete cap. We have these black women, particularly dark-skinned black women, talk about how, oh, nobody wants me, I'm single because nobody likes me, nobody wants me. I believe it's just complete cap, because if you actually speak to a black woman in real life, they'll tell you that they have more than their fair share of admirers. So I don't believe any of that. It's just, I just believe it's just cap. But unfortunately, a lot of black men will look at this and say, you know what, I like you, I want you. And obviously, you know, women aren't going to like be responsive to somebody to say, oh yeah, okay, I'll go with you. And I think that's what kind of made this sort of depressive mindset amongst black men. So I think, and then because they're scorned, because they're basically scorned, they turn around and they say, okay, now I'm going to be anti-black women, which is completely like counterproductive towards their mental health. I believe so anyway. Because like, yeah, I'm all for mental health for black men. I've like for black people in general, but particularly for black men. And I just don't believe that can be achieved by downing your own women. That's just my opinion. You know, it's like, you know, obviously you can tell I'm from the UK, and any black British man who was laughing when Kevin Samuels said to that woman, "You're average at best and you're going to die alone." I really would think about that, because statistics have just recently been released that saying that black British men have an increasing rate of dying alone. So we've really got no business laughing at that woman. Like I said, moving on to Kevin Samuels, because he was like kind of like another part of the so-called black manosphere. What I understand is that Kevin Samuels used to give us advice to black men and how we can step up in the game, and just really give us really harsh, it was somewhat harsh. And then, you know, because the black women would come in and ask him questions, and he would just kind of give them the brutal truth. I don't believe he had an agenda against black women, although many Muppets would take that as, you know, oh, he's definitely going to be our thing against black women. But at the same time, I mean, I don't necessarily agree. I didn't really agree with Kevin Samuels, because you can't expect a woman to say, okay, I'm going to go with that guy who's earning 30 grand a year, and he has no ambition of it. And that's he has no ambition of bettering himself. You can't expect any woman to want to settle for a bloke like that. I don't care. And, you know, unfortunately, with the black manosphere, when a black woman says, or when a black woman says, okay, I like a man who has this and has that and has that, then their impulse is to say, no, you're fat, you're old, you're ugly. And I was thinking, huh? Why is that your place to say? That's just my opinion in the matter and all of that. So, oh, I got a like, sweet ass. Thanks to whoever said that. Be sure to leave a comment as well, so I just know, because it's just basically my thing is, it's like, I don't really, having one like is already an overachievement on my part. It's not necessarily me trying to be a YouTube star or anything like that. It's just offloading my opinions, because I feel that in the YouTube atmosphere is that people just, their opinions are often like influenced by some agenda, and that's why I hate watching it, because it's just like someone says something and their opinions are just have some sort of agenda. Like, you know, if you want to say, okay, you don't have to go and put down black women or put down black men and say how useless, or, you know, it's just seemingly like there's just someone who's funding it. And obviously I'm receiving no funding, and I wouldn't want to receive funding, because I wouldn't want someone to tell me what to say. Like, I'm saying exactly what's in my mind. Those who may not know, I used to make YouTube videos like 16 years ago, and I used to get thousands of views. I'm quite shocked. Like, I must have been at that time probably the most watched black Brit on YouTube. Fortunately, a lot of black British people have surpassed me and completely left me in the dust, so much I'm chuffed to hear. I'm chuffed to see. But yeah, and I must have been like 19, 20, just talking a whole bunch of nonsensical, useless nonsense. But obviously, as a 19, I was saying the sort of things that a 19-year-old would say. I was confused about certain things, and I was trying to get enlightenment, and got enlightenment is what I did from a lot of people on YouTube. So I'm just I'm just basically on here to sort of share my views and opinions with different people. I think, yeah, talking about Kevin Samuels, like my disagreements with Kevin Samuels, I just didn't feel that he needed to tell a woman that she's ugly, she's unattractive, anything like that. It's just like, okay, go ahead, see if you ain't found that person for you, then yeah. Because knowing women, understanding women's psychology is that, you know, if they saying that a man who has this and owns that or has all of that, like, I don't know if that's just what she's saying. You know, when a woman is like, you know, on her own and she's like, she wakes up like at 12 o'clock in the morning when she's not due to wake up till 6, and she needs to get herself back to sleep. I don't think she's imagining a bloke walking through the door with a 6-figure salary. She just wants a bloke who can help her get back to sleep. That's just the long and short of it. I mean, I know I put this video not for children, but that's the best I can say for it. So I don't know why when a woman says she has a preference, and then so many men get triggered. Like, you know, maybe it's because at my age, I'm 36 by the way. So at my age, so I don't get triggered by a woman stating her preference or anything of that nature. So yeah, I don't really, it doesn't really bother me like that. But yeah, I think it says that there's someone here. I don't know if that one person is me. If you'd like to call in, I don't know how this thing works. I don't know how to work this thing, but you can put people in a timeout for different lengths, ranging from 10 minutes to 10 seconds to 24 hours. Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm kind of shaky with this because I'm still learning. I'm still learning along the way. Yeah, it's just certain things that I just want to share certain things that are floating in my mind. And if you have something that's floating in your mind you want to share with me, then I'm more than happy to listen to it. If I know, hopefully the system of taking calls is straightforward. Hopefully it's not some sort of nonsense. But anyway, yeah, that's just kind of how it is. What else I want to talk about? Oh, so as you can see from the colors I'm wearing, there's a team I support, from my accent as well. Yes, I support the Irons. I think a lot of I think that West Ham fans have been very much unfairly depicted in the media, saying that how we're ungrateful, because they still look at us as the West Ham of old. And many West Ham fans like myself, we don't see ourselves like that, because when we left the Bowling Ground, we were made a promise that this was the level of football we were going to be playing. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't agree to it. So playing European football, so even, and then that mission is bigger than David Moyes. So if David Moyes isn't the person to keep us in European football, then he's got to go, because this is a level that we expect to remain at, because this is what was promised to us when we moved to the London Stadium. So with that said, the London Stadium is definitely safe as houses. Like, I've only been to London Stadium a handful of times, and I do not feel under any sort of danger. It is a very, and I don't know, maybe it's because the stewards, they're not necessarily West Ham stewards, they're like London Stadium stewards, and they even said that they have quite a very anti West Ham fan mentality. And because I don't fit the bill of your stereotypical West Ham fan, I'm always cool with them. But yeah, they're always very helpful when I go there. Like, because even though I go to the stadium, I always get lost. I always think, okay, what gate do I go to? And they're always very helpful with me. So, yeah, that's as far. I just wanted to clear that up with West Ham fans. Is that, you know, it's not that we're being ungrateful. It's just the fact that we were promised this level of football. Oh, okay, so Geezer's gone, naffed off. So I guess so there was that one person there. Okay, yeah. So it's just a case of I think I'm gonna have a more organized format. It's just my first live, so I'm just like basically talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. I was going to talk about music. So the last time I was on YouTube, I was learning the guitar. Now I'm on YouTube, like 16 years later, I can play the guitar, the keyboard, violin, although not particularly well, and the bass guitar. One thing about music is that they contribute to one another. Like, once you learn one instrument, then the next one becomes a whole lot easier. So always remember that. Like, once you pick up one instrument, the other one becomes a whole lot easier. If you'd excuse me for a moment, I'm going to grab one of my guitars. I'm going to teach you about passing chords, because I watch all these YouTube videos of these keyboardists teaching passing chords, and it's just like, you know, I could bring that to the guitar. And I don't see passing chords when it comes to the guitar, even though, and even bass guitar, obviously passing chords is kind of a thing. So I think to know passing chords, you've got to have good rhythm, I think. So the first instrument I ever played when I was 4 years old was the drums, and those drums kind of helps me with my passing chords. Even though I think I've got no rhythm, that's why when I play the keyboard, I'm not confident in my keyboard playing skills, because I feel I've got absolutely no rhythm whatsoever. But if you could just hold this up for a second. I know there's one person in the chat. Just hold on a second. I'm going to get my guitar. Oh, two people, sweet as. So yeah, so this guitar, I got this one from Dubai. I got it for like, well, how much was it? It was like, it must have been about 15 quid. It's quite cheap and it's pretty decent. I got it about a decade ago actually. So let's say I'm gonna start as with chords, there's what is it, diatonic, or basically it's the do re mi fa sol la ti do. Or many young people in London, they use the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So for my one on my door, I'm going to use a C because every keyboard instructional, every piano instructional always uses a C. So I thought, okay, I'll use a C as well. So that's your one, C, one, and then your two would be hang about D minor. So that would be that's your D minor. That's your number two. Your re, and then what would be E minor, and then do re mi. So that'd be your E minor. That's your number three chord, and then your another light. Cheers. Then your number four would be basically your fa. That would be your F. So funny enough, you can get away with it because for years, for my F, I used to play the D minor 7, which you can probably get away with to the untrained ear. No one's really going to say, "Oh, you didn't play the F, you played the D minor 7." No one's really going to care for that. So, and then your five, your saw will be your G. So just like so that's that, and then also, and then for your six would be your A minor. So it's just your La chord. So that's your La. And then this is the one, the T, that always annoys me because T might be accessible to a pianist or a keyboardist, but it's really difficult for a guitarist to play. Or is it? So what I usually do when I want to play my T, I just play the -7 version of it. I don't know why, it just works. So let's say, okay, I've just moved. I play my C on a higher octave, and then I just play C -7, and then that's literally that's just literally, and it just works for some reason. So going back, I was going to share my chart with you. I have a circle of fifths chart because when I play passing chords, I just use circle of fifths. It's just such a beautiful thing. So usually when I play at church, and I play at church, when I want to get to my door, I just play. It's called a 2-5-1, which is what I see on so many keyboard videos. So going back to see what's my two. Okay, so it's that's just my 2-5-1. So so I played two notes before I get to my one chord, and then if I want to get to my F, it's just you play 5-1-4. So or it's so do fa. So it's what's the number for? Okay, so it'll be, and then that's just to get to your fa, and then to get to your saw, you can play. Now this is kind of this is kind of arguable because usually when I play, I usually play a 2-6-5, but you're really meant to play 6-2-5. So let's say you see your 5. To get to your 5, to get to the 5, you can either play. There we go. Like that. That's your 2-6-5. That's a very popular one that in the 80s they used to play. Or you could use your the regular one, the one that you're probably supposed to do is like that. That's like your that's another way of that's another entry into it. That I kind of when I'm playing it, it's just usually more. It's easier for me to do the 2-6 and the 2-6-5 rather than. But you can do the 6-2-5. That's just as well. Or how can I put that into? 625. So la, re, so. There you go. So there's one or two ways you can do so. So yeah. So yeah, that's just the way I sort of play. If I can, should I pick a song? Um, okay. I'm not going to sing. I was thinking of singing, but I don't sing. My pipes are absolutely atrocious. That's the one thing I can't do. Is I can't sing. My voice is atrocious. So, what are the things I wanted to talk about? Like, yeah, going back to women's psychology, I kind of found that, you know, women are always attractive to people who aren't checking for them. So going back to when we talk about complexionism in the black community, and they always say that, that when you hear, even though I think it's all cap, but when a black woman says, black men only go for light-skinned women, it's like, no, because the brothers who go for dark-skinned women, you don't want to notice them because, that's your psychology of a woman. You always go for people who aren't checking for you. And so it's a case of, so obviously when she's sitting with a brother who's thinking about a light-skinned woman, funny enough, the way I break it down is that women are comfortable around, women are more comfortable around brothers like that because they don't have some emotional impulse, compulsion towards them. And I think that's because emotional compulsion toward a woman, and you barely know, it's so unattractive to birds, like or to women. It's extremely unattractive. So you have to work when you're around someone who you might have feelings for, you have to know how to be calm and relaxed and comfortable. Because if you're not comfortable within yourself, she ain't gonna be comfortable with you. That's just the truth of it. So she ain't gonna be comfortable with you if you're not comfortable with yourself. So you have to learn to be comfortable within yourself. And how you comfortable, you have to learn to be enjoy your own company. You have to learn to be happy around yourself, and I think once you're happy in your own company, then being alone, then she's going to be happy to be alone with you. So you have to always think of it like that, so to speak. Yeah, that's all. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's anybody here. They napped off, so I'm sorry. I hope I didn't chase you out or run you out. But yeah, that's just really what I really wanted to talk about today. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this like a whole lot more often. So if anyone wants to check out my lives and check my replays, and that's perfectly fine with me because I just kind of like it's just a case of like I don't like to it's like I always say, look, if you've got something in your mind, just share it with the world, because if you keep it stored in, what I've learned, if you keep it stored in, it's just not going to be comfortable for you and for anyone else around you. So it's always a good idea just to, you have a thought in your mind, just share it with the world, however many people there are. Yes, I know there's the old saying, if an apple falls in a tree in the woods, then nobody hears it, but you hear it. So that's the most important thing of all. So yeah, I'm just gonna do these sorts of things. I'm just gonna be jumping from thing to thing. I've probably got a whole bunch of other things in my mind. It's just things that I literally, if I'm not talking to you, I'll be talking to myself. And I think, okay, that's probably definitely not healthy. I'm talking to myself. Let me talk to the YouTube atmosphere and then see if anybody can deep what I'm saying. Then that's finally cool. Oh, and another thing. When I was young, when I used to be on YouTube, I used to say a lot of stupid stuff. One amongst the most stupid stuff I used to say, I used to make some ignorant comments about grime music. Now, I love grime music. I loved it back then and I love it now. And I've always wanted just to say, if there's a way I could just say sorry for being so ignorant about it. But because, the society I lived in, they said because of the way I am, that I should be held to a higher esteem. And even though if a grime artist is making more money in a year than I'll see in my lifetime, that because I talk a bit funny, that I should use that as an avenue of looking down upon them. Now, I realize how stupid that is now at age to ground over when I'm pushing 40. But Yeah, it's just something I just wanted to sort of say that, I am not anti-grime. I love grime music. I like all kinds of music, really. But yeah, yeah, grime is definitely no exception to that. Like, I try to like all kinds of music because there's always artistic merit to music. Yeah, and I know that includes hip hop as well. There is artistic merit to hip hop because in order to come up with the words and the verbiage and also maintain the rhythm of the song is such a difficult thing to do. When I'm like playing the guitar, and I'm even when I'm soloing, like in order to come up with the notes and then also um, keep hold of the rhythm and the tune, it's so difficult. That's another thing I like to. Another my guitar styles. I like to pluck the chords, or even like do play scales, and also mix it in with the chords. That's not easy at all. At least not for me anyway. It's just, and then also have the rhythm, see the chord progression. So see, that's me trying to play a -7. So with the two, I've been experiment playing with minus. So this will be my usual two. But I'd rather just to try and make it a bit interesting, I say. So yeah, going back to it. So 2-5-1. That's a -7. So just or that's just that's basically it. So I don't know. Maybe I might do some more musical instructionals. Even though I'm not necessarily like trained, I might even go into the violin because usually when I teach people the violin, like I teach people the violin. Well, usually when I come, usually I usually come with all my instruments, but they always go for the violin, and I say that's my weakest instrument. That's not what I'm best at. Why are you trying to wind me up? Why are you trying to do me over like this? Like, ask about the guitar or the keyboard or something. Like the violin is like not my best instrument. So yeah, if anyone plays the violin and wants to have a back and forth with me, I'll be more than happy to sort of like learn and stuff like that because I'm still trying to get my scales right. It's just, coming from the guitar to the violin, you so that the violin is very unforgiving and they don't have fretboards. So I'm thinking maybe they should invent fretboards for the violin, especially for guitarists. So when I'm playing the violin, like my favorite go-to is just a pizzicato because then it's kind of like being a guitarist because when I first learned the first 4 years I learned the guitar, I was playing my fingers. I didn't even know how to use a pick. I hate using the pick because I couldn't really have much. I didn't really have much. I don't think I had much control. Okay, I've got a pick here. Let's see how it works. So see, that sound comes out a lot louder when you're playing with a pick. But I usually use my fingers. That's just my thing. But anyway, yeah, I'm in a bit of a good mood. I bought some Crocs, and yeah, they are pretty simple. I can just wear them around the gaff, and yeah, I just that's what I love about Crocs. So I ain't gonna show them because I don't want to show my plates. I don't think anyone wants to see that. But yeah, yeah, I think they're a bit big. It's because the thing is like, because I'm always like unsure about my shoe size because I would say I'm a 10. That just makes things easier. But I think I'm really a 9.5. But I've actually worn 9.5 and they used to pinch my toes like crazy. So I always just to be safe, I always wear 10. So when I buy 10, because I've got some skinny plates, so it takes a while to get used to wearing the 10s because like yeah, my plates are quite distinctively skinny. So sometimes I wonder how I keep balance. But anyway, yeah, thank you for listening. For the two people who were there and then naffed off, I understand that, you know, you probably had better things to do. It was a Sunday afternoon, but yeah, I'm going to be doing these sometime in the weekend. I'm going to be doing these kinds of shows because I feel a whole lot better just like speaking and just expressing myself to the public, to the atmosphere. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you next week. All right, toodaloo.